Hey everyone, I'm Rob and welcome to the test drive. Today, I'm in Vermont and I'm driving the all-new 2018 Chevy Equinox. Now the Equinox has been completely redesigned for the 2018 model year along with the Traverse. And the Equinox and the Traverse were really the only two Chevys that still retained the old design of the Chevy brand. So it's nice to see that both of them were brought into the next generation for the brand. And this Equinox was completely redesigned for the 2018 model year. It is almost nothing like the 2017 Equinox. I mean, you have a new design, you have new power plants, you have new interior, you literally have new basically everything. And GM did a phenomenal job at redesigning this Equinox. It is so much better than the previous generation. Now, before we get to the exterior, this Equinox is obviously very dirty. It's Vermont, it's December, there's snow everywhere, there's salt all over the roads. I cannot keep this thing clean for a second, so it's just gonna be dirty. It's gonna be down and dirty Equinox review. So the exterior of this Equinox is a huge step up compared to the 2017 and previous model years. It looks very nice. You have a much more aggressive front. You also have just an overall better looking, little bit more squared up rear. And from the sides, this just looks like a newer, more sleek looking vehicle. I'd like to see a cutout in the bumper for the exhaust. I think it would give it more of a performance, more of a fun look in that aspect. But overall, I like the design of this Equinox so much better. It's more angular, it's less rounded. It looks like there was a lot more thought put into it. And it looks similar to the new Traverse as well. They have a very similar design. Obviously this is significantly smaller. This has 2 rows, the Traverse is 3, but they look like siblings. Now the Equinox that I'm driving is the LT trim. So you have 4 different trims available. It starts with the L, then you get into the LS, then you have the LT, and then the Premier is the top level trim. Now there's some significant differences going from the LT to the Premier, but this LT looks very good and it's quite well equipped. I was actually surprised with everything that's in here. Now the interior of the 2018 Equinox was also completely redesigned and it was made to be a lot more modern than the previous generation. You have a very nice look in here, an extremely comfortable leather wrapped steering wheel. The seats that are in mine are not leather, although you can get some very nice leather seats in the Equinox. Now, while these cloth seats are reasonably comfortable, they are kind of hard, so they're not as comfortable as some other cloth seats. They're also a little bit narrow, which if you're a bigger guy could potentially be an issue. Overall, it's still a comfortable car to ride in. You have soft touch surfaces across a lot of the car, although you do still have some hard plastic, unfortunately. I love the design of the climate controls in here. I love that you have dual zone climate control. You also have heated seats in here, which I like to see, especially being that this isn't leather. At least you do have heated seats in the front. You can also get cooled seats in the front as well with the leather. The driver and front passenger have a lot of room, and the back seat actually has a pretty good amount of room as well for a vehicle this size. I'm 6 feet tall and I had no issues sitting behind myself. And then the trunk as well has a very nice amount of room. I mean, I'm very impressed with the way that GM designed this to be very spacious and very versatile, and they really fit everything well inside of this 2018 Equinox. Now, in terms of performance, the Equinox has also received a lot of upgrades for 2018. There are 3 different engines you can choose from. All of them are turbocharged. So you have a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. You also have a 2 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. And then you have a 1.6 liter turbo diesel 4-cylinder, which is very cool that GM put a turbo diesel in this small SUV. I actually like that they did that a lot. And one of the awesome things about the diesel is that, yes, it puts out a lot of torque for its size, 240 pound-feet, but then it also is rated at 39 miles per gallon on the highway. Now that's with front-wheel drive, but still, wow. I mean, that is unbelievable. So I haven't seen the all-wheel drive turbo diesel numbers, but I'm sure the highway number is going to be close to that 39, maybe 36, 37, which is phenomenal for an all-wheel drive SUV. It's just amazing. So what I have under the hood of this Equinox is the 1.5 liter turbocharged gasoline 4-cylinder engine, and it gets up fine. It's not bad, but it really doesn't feel turbocharged. I mean, it doesn't pull like what you see in the EcoBoost engines from Ford. Oh, okay. 5.2 miles. It still drives fine, and you get some pretty decent fuel economy with it. I mean, it puts out 170 horsepower, 203 pound-feet of torque, which is not bad. But again, I just don't really feel that what you would think from, you know, an engine with a turbocharger on it really pulling harder. If somebody told me that this was naturally aspirated, I would totally believe it, because that's really what it feels like. It feels like just a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Now, the one that I'm driving is the all-wheel drive model, so you can get this in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. But what's interesting about this is that you have an all-wheel drive button, and when that button is not engaged, it actually functions fully in front-wheel drive. You don't get support from the rear wheels, which I thought was kind of interesting, because in a lot of cars in this segment, let's say Jeeps or, you know, Nissans, whatever, you know, in a lot of them you have like a 4-wheel drive lock button or something like that, where you can make it run completely in 4-wheel drive versus being front-wheel drive with the rear wheels engaging whenever the vehicle wants to engage them. But in this Equinox, it's actually, you're basically driving a front-wheel drive SUV until you hit that button for all-wheel drive, and then you're functioning fully in all-wheel drive. So it's kind of interesting. I haven't seen it like that. And GM actually advertises it that way. If you look on their website, if you look at the Equinox, they advertise the fact that you can switch between front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. Now, this Equinox does handle very well for being a small SUV, crossover, whatever you want to call it. It really does handle well. I'm driving through the mountains in Vermont and cornering and things like that, and I mean, you don't get a lot of body roll. It almost feels like you're driving a hatchback at times versus an actual SUV. Now, this 1.5 liter turbo is paired with a 6-speed automatic. You can also get a 9-speed automatic transmission with the 2-liter turbo and with the 1.6 liter turbo diesel. This one also is equipped with auto start stop. Now, I am very impressed with the technology in this 2018 Equinox, and especially this LT. You have standard the 7-inch touchscreen, which has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto built in, which is very nice that you get that standard. This one also has a backup camera with the rear cross traffic alert, which is just awesome. And then you also have blind spot monitoring as well. You also have a nice screen in between the tachometer and the speedometer that gives you a lot of vehicle information. You know, so being that this isn't a premier model, you still get a lot of features. So there you have it. This Equinox is a huge improvement over the previous generation and is just an all-around much better, much more competitive vehicle in this extremely competitive segment. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm Rob, this is the test drive. Please feel free to give this video a thumbs up. If you like it, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this video and this car and what this competes against. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.